Hey everybody, this is a continuation video of the Robinson Crusoe Play a Turn reminder video. We pick it up right after the event phase and start off with the morale phase. Next we move to the morale phase. So the first thing that we'll do is increase our morale by 1 because we're happy to be alive, and that allows us to get 2 determination tokens for the cook. Now we move to the production phase, and so our camp has moved. We no longer on this tile, we've got shelter, but we don't have food, but we do get some wood. Okay, now let's move to the planning phase and see what it is that we want to do. So here's some steps that I'm going to take. I'm going to use these 3 determination tokens in order to get 1 food, and I will place a black marker on that special ability to show that it's been used, because I can only use it once around, and I will then get a food token and put it in the available resource section. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use both of the weapon upgrade markers here off the empty bottle, and that will allow me to increase my weapon 2 steps. So I will just move the black marker down to weapon level 2. Now, the other thing that I almost forgot again is the wood that needs to go onto the wood pile. You're supposed to do this before the action phase. I've started the planning, so I haven't actually done any of the actions really. So I'm going to put that wood on the wood pile right here at level 1. Now, I think the things that I'm most interested in doing this round is I definitely want to get this fire, and I would like to increase my weapon just in case I decide to fight a beast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Friday to build the fire, and I am going to use one of these markers here. So I use the neutral pawn to do the hammer and nails so that I can build and it will be successful. So I place Friday on top of the neutral pawn and put it on the fire to show that I'm going to build that. Next, I'm going to use the hammer and nails again to build a weapon. I'll take the cook pawn or worker and put it on top of a neutral worker and put these on top up here for the building the weapon. And I am now out of hammer and nails and out of the empty bottle, so all of my starting equipment is gone. Now that gorilla had a danger of 6, so I really want to bump this weapon up quite a bit. So this will guarantee I get 1 bump up, but I'm going to use my other worker pawn to try to increase it again. And one reason is just to show you that you can do this twice, but you need to know the difference between if they're stacked up or if they're side by side. If they're side by side, then we're doing 2 attempts. If they're stacked up, then both of them working together to guarantee success. So this double stack will guarantee success. This other one will not. We have to roll the dice. One thing that I almost forgot is to add the wood that is needed as a resource for building the weapon. So I'll place 1 wood on each stack in order to make sure that we have all the resources necessary. So since I'm not going to explore or hunt, the dog really isn't going to be able to help me this round. Okay, so now let's resolve the actions. We didn't put any workers over here in the threat area, so nothing to do there, and we're not doing any hunting, but we are doing some building. So there are 2 build actions that are guaranteed to be successful. First is the fire. We'll just take care of that and move Friday, and that neutral pawn is discarded, and Friday is put back in his area. And the fire is now taken and put in the future resources area. The first weapon build is also successful, so we can take that wood and put it aside, and take the neutral pawn and again put him aside, and remove the cook. Now we can try to build with this other cook. We will attempt, and we have to roll the build dice. Oh, but before we do, move up that weapon level. All right, so let's roll the build dice. That might be a little bit hard to see, but we take 1 wound. We are successful, and we do have to draw an adventure card. So I will bump up the wound marker for the cook, and I'll draw an adventure card. So it says breakdown. You're not used to working with handmade tools, so we will decrease our morale, and we'll shuffle this into the event deck. So we just bump that morale marker down 1. And because we were successful, we will remove the wood and put it into the pile for getting more wood, remove our pawn, and bump up the weapon level. We're not going to be doing any gather or exploring, rearranging the camp, or resting, so we're done with the actions. So we do the end of the action phase. To do that, we will move the food down into the available resource area. We'll move the fire down, flip it over to show that we have invented that item. And we will increase our palisade by 1 level. Next, we move to the weather phase, but fortunately in Castaways, we don't have weather effects until round 4. So we move to the night phase. The first thing that we do is we eat, so we need to remove the available food. Next, we look back over at our camp and we see if we want to move our camp, but we're in a really good space, so I'm not going to move the camp. We then look to see whether or not we had shelter and take care of that effect. Since we do have a natural shelter, we don't take any wounds. If we had any more perishable food in the available resource, we would lose that, but fortunately we don't. We do need to remove the black marker from the special character ability to let us know that it can be used on the next round. And finally, we move the round marker to round 3. And that ends the second round. So I hope that was helpful in understanding or reminding you on how to play. Enjoy playing Robinson Crusoe.